It may happen that sometimes, even if you have textures in your shaders in the 3D rendering software, then when you render the final image, those textures kind of, disappear, okay? But if you look at the passes, especially the diffuse pass, those textures are still there, okay? Like in this case, the tiles here you have here on the outside. So how can we use such a pass to restore some of those details? Now, what I'm doing here is to, of course, opening the pass folder, and you need to look for the source color or the diffuse pass if you are using V-Ray. And basically in this pass, there's no light, no reflection, nothing, just a pure and planar texture you are using in your 3D rendering software. So what to do now? I'm going to add a black layer at the bottom just because I don't want to see anything else than this layer here. And then on the top, we can use a use saturation to take away all the colors. So I bring saturation down to -100. You can attach this layer, this adjustment layer, to the previous layer if you want. And then we are going to use curves. Now, with this layer of curves, what we need to do is we need to look only here, okay? Because this is the area where we want to get details from, okay? So we don't care about anything else. We don't care if it becomes extremely contrasted or completely white or completely black everywhere else. We just look at this area, okay? And just to be specific, in this area is somewhere here, you see? And this is the amount of informations per color, per value, okay? So for example, here we have something like medium gray. There's a few pixels which are completely medium gray inside the image right now. So we need to look for these values. And you know what? These values are basically, close to 75. They are 75 plus or minus. Some of them will be like 74, 76, doesn't matter. But anyway, it's 75. Now, what I want to do here is to contrast this image as much as I can. So this is the type of contrast we're going to do. Something like that, okay? But something taking the darkest value and the brightest value and, clamping them. So this is what we are going to do, okay? And the result we are looking for is something like this, okay? This is the result we want. So something really, really contrasted, with some areas completely dark, completely black, and some areas completely white, okay? So something like this. And now that we have this, we can just Ctrl-Alt-Shift-E to make a new layer with this result, okay? If you want like a backup. Otherwise, if you don't want to do that, you can just go to the channels, Control-click on one of the 4 channels we have here, make a new channel, and Control-I, and press Control-I. And in this way, you basically store the mask here. Now that we have the mask, we select that selection, and then we go back in the layers, we hide the passes, and into the adjustment folder, we make a new group. We call this one, sidewalk. We make a curve inside that. And in order to complete the exercise, first we need the mask of the sidewalk. So I'm going into the mask folder, and here we go. This is the green one. We are lucky as the first we selected. So we click on the green channel thumbnail. We go back here and we mask the group with this selection. And now we are ready to use the curves with that mask. And if you go down or up or down, it doesn't matter. You can contrast this a little bit. You see now you are basically revealing some details. You can Zoom in. See? Before and after. And it depends on how strong is the contrast or what you do with this curve. You will get stronger or more subtle results. Sometimes you can get some issues on the fringe here of the mask, but don't worry, because you can always, select the mask and then with a very small black brush try to delete that area. Okay, just 1 pixel. See, it's basically just 1 pixel, so don't worry about that, and that's it. Okay, so now we have a bunch of more details. This is the same thing happens here. So even here we need to delete this fringe. Here we go. And now we have a lot more details. Now we can do the same here for the concrete wall. Okay, so same workflow, new folder, concrete wall. We search for the mask of the concrete wall, which is this one. Channel, green channel. Remember, control click on the thumbnail. Back in the layers, mask the selected area. Now we can do whatever we want to do inside here. We go back into the passes and we make this visible. And of course, you need to change the curve, because you see, now we need this type of contrast. I like it. Channels, control click on one of the channels, new channel, control I to invert and save the selection. Okay, so now we can go back into the layers, hide the passes, and inside the concrete wall folder, make a new curve. And then, I don't know, make it darker or make it brighter. If you want to make it darker, you can invert the mask. See? To get more details, a lot more details. Now, this is a curve, so it should be in luminosity, or is basically oversaturating the area. And of course, now, if you don't want these effects here, because maybe, I don't know, the concrete wall is dirty outside, but inside the house is kind of clean, you can, stop this effect to work inside. You can modify the concrete wall mask, but maybe, it's better to do another group with just this adjustment inside. And you can call this one outside wall. Put a mask, invert the mask, and paint white only where you want. See? As we did for the swimming pool, even this area of the sidewalk need a new reflection, because as you can see, the color of it, remember, made the original sky, and right now we don't have that color. We should have something more greener. And so what we can do is, again, let's go back on the background. Let's go back on here and select the background photo plus the sky. We press Ctrl-Alt-E to make a new layer with those layers merged together. We bring this into the sidewalk folder. Let's close the background. And now we have it here. We, of course, right-click, Ctrl-T, right-click, and flip vertical. And we move it up and down to search, in order to search for the right content. And here we go. And now we need to keep this only in this area. But before doing that, what I'm trying to do here is to add a little bit of blur. So I don't know how much blur I need in the end, so I'm going to convert this layer into a smart object. Once it's a smart object, I can go here, filter, blur. We can go for a Gaussian blur. Pick a radius. And then we can convert this blend mode to maybe multiply or maybe overlay. Let me see. Multiply, maybe going down with the opacity. We need something like greener. Yeah, I think we are getting there. And now we can mask this, invert the mask, and with a white brush, 100% opacity, we can just paint here until we get to that point. And here we go. And we can even go lower with the opacity and maybe increase the blur. So we can check before and after. And it looks better. Maybe even lower the opacity. We don't have to exaggerate, you know, just a little bit of green. It's enough like this. Okay, good.